If you're wondering what comes next in the Superbike stakes, we've got the answer for you. It's the Honda CX500 Turbo. Basically, Honda have taken their established CX500 and they've added a turbocharger, but the story's not quite as simple as that. A conventional turbocharger gives you a very useful boost in performance, but it's got several drawbacks. Now, here on wheels, we've seen in early car applications how sudden gouts of uncontrollable power that are developed as the turbocharger starts spinning make cars very difficult to drive smoothly and predictably. Now, you put that combination through a single motorbike rear wheel, especially on wet roads, and you've got a potential disaster on your hands. Now Honda seem to have tamed the turbo while retaining all the benefits. They've developed this. They claim it's the smallest turbocharger in the world, and the internals spin at an amazing 180,000 revs per minute. And controlling the turbocharger is a substantial digital computer lodged here in the bike's tail fairing. Now, the computer notes the degree of throttle opening that the rider has selected and calculates exactly precise amounts of fuel to go into each cylinder. It irons out the power surges and throttle lags of the ordinary turbo and allows this bike to deliver a smooth flow of power right through the rev range. If you don't want to use the performance, which is equivalent to that of a 1000cc superbike, you've still got the economy of a 500 lightweight. Now, this bike's even got a digital clock. Don't sneer, how many times have you needed to look at your watch under a gauntlet at 70 miles an hour? And all the instruments are set in a car-type binnacle. At the rear of this new bike, we've got air-assisted single-link suspension, and of course it features shaft drive. At the front, we've got special anti-dive mechanism to stop the bike nosing down under heavy braking which incidentally is supplied by the same disc brakes that Honda use for their Grand Prix racer. Add a weather-cheating fairing and you've got a pretty formidable package. We're down here at the Honda training school at Chiswick to find out a little bit more about the way the Honda Turbo is going to be sold from Gerald Davison, who's the Senior Executive Manager here at Honda. Gerald, a turbocharger running at 180,000 RPM, controlled by a computer, it sounds frightfully complicated. How on earth are the dealers out in the sticks going to handle this machine?
Well, it certainly is a sophisticated motorcycle, but we've had an increasing range of machines during the last few years that have produced technical problems similar to this, and we've not had any difficulties. We operate this training school here, in fact, to help our dealers to cope with changes in technology.
So how many of these bikes will you be selling in a year, do you think?
In the first year, 200.
So there shouldn't be any major problems there. Will all the dealers be selling them, or?
No, we've been very careful to select the dealers who are already most capable of handling a machine as sophisticated as this. And for the first year, there'll only be 60 dealers spread throughout the United Kingdom that will sell this model.
Now, in the past, I mean, the Superbike seems to be getting bigger and bigger and heavier. I mean, we've got this 900 behind us here, really sort of big, heavy metal. Is a machine like this going to replace this sort of bike, do you think, in the long term?
I think not immediately, certainly not in the short term, but probably economic constraints are going to force people to consider buying machines with a smaller capacity because there's a natural fuel advantage, but with this type of sophistication.
So really, the Turbo gives the rider an option?
Yes, he has the option of using the machine as a performance machine, or, under other circumstances, taking advantage of the fuel economy we can get.
Gerald, thanks very much indeed.